Welcome to today's Breathwork and Meditation class. I'm very, very excited to share this because I feel that a lot of the times the focus of practicing yoga is about the yoga asana, which is really, really nice as well because we get very centered in the body and we are allowing ourselves to connect very deeply with the movement, with the body-mind awareness. But our breath is our life. If we don't breathe, we die, right? So I find it really important to teach my students and teach people who are interested about yoga deep belly breathing. Yeah. And in a yoga class, there's not just one type of breathing, and there's not one type of way where we can connect with our breath. So the flow of today's class would be talking about the breath work and practicing different breathing techniques and seeing how that works and that feels in your body. And then we'll start to move into meditation and different kinds of meditation. And in my email yesterday, I mentioned having a candle. So if you can prepare your candle as well, that'll be nice. If you don't have a candle, don't worry about it. If you don't have a candle, it's all good. But if you have a candle, you can start to light it up if you prefer, or just leave it for later when we begin our meditation portion of class. Good. All right. Welcome, Helen. Hi, Helen. Welcome. All right, let's just first tune into our body. So coming into that comfortable seated position. So some of you, I can already see that you don't look super comfortable sitting down. So again, I give you some suggestions. You can grab a cushion, like how I'm doing. You can sit on the cushion. It helps to lift up the body. Also allows the knees to come down a little bit more towards the ground. If you find that even sitting upright in this way is not comfortable, you can sit on a chair. Alternatively, you can also sit against the wall. So 3 options here, right? I'll repeat one more time. So sitting up on a cushion, sitting on a chair, or sitting up against the wall. So the wall is going to support your spine. And then wherever you're ready, you're going to close your eyes. Doesn't matter how your seated position is right now. I just want you to check in with your body. Just observing which part starts to feel uncomfortable or which parts feel really, really nice and safe. So just feeling the feet on the ground. Feeling the hands on the thighs or on the knees. Feeling that connection with yourself and the connection of your body with the space around you. Breathing in and out. And then slowly I want you to bring your awareness to your breathing. Notice how do you breathe? Do you breathe more with the chest or do you breathe more with the belly? Does your body move up and down or does your body move side to side or maybe both? Just observe without judgment, without wanting to change. Just simply notice where you are starting your practice today. So one of the first ways of practicing deep belly breaths, if you're new to this practice, is to bring your palms over your belly. So maybe one palm on the navel and one palm on the side of your waist, whichever side you want to hold on, it doesn't matter. So first we're building this connection with the part of our belly, so this abdominal area of our body. When we practice deep breathing, what you want to feel is the movement of your hands here. So your palm that is on your belly, on your navel, is going to move forward away from your spine. And the hand that is on the waist is going to move to the left or to the right side, away from your spine. So start to take a deep inhale here. And notice if the hands move at all. It doesn't have to be big movements. Small movements are enough. But the point is to move the breathing pattern from the chest, so you're no longer breathing through the chest, but rather with the belly. So pushing the belly out as you take a deep breath in, and then pulling the navel towards the spine as you exhale. If you're new to this pattern, notice that it might be challenging, and that's okay. So just continue trying to breathe into the belly, pushing the belly out as you inhale, feeling the sides of your waist expand. And as you exhale, bringing the body back to the center line. If your hands start to get tired here, you can release the palms down towards your thighs or your knees. But I want you to remain and keep that awareness around this area of your body. Imagine your body is like a balloon. As you inhale, this balloon expands front, back, side to side. And then when you exhale, feel everything coming back to the center line. Good. Keep practicing that for a couple more breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. And you might even start to notice that this pattern is quite tiring. If you notice that you're getting a bit tired, slowly release that breathing pattern and just come back to what feels most natural for your body. If you really enjoy this breathing pattern, continue to breathe through using this pattern for the entire journey of this class. Okay? So that's step one, is that deep belly breath. What we're doing internally is that we're pushing our diaphragm down. So our diaphragm is this area that protects or separates the space of our ribs, our lungs, and our internal organs, so our stomach, our kidneys, our liver, everything that's underneath us. So there's this diaphragm in the middle of our body. When we push our belly out on the inhale, what happens to the diaphragm is it's pushing down. And as a result of that, the space of our lungs start to grow and we can grab more air. And when we pull the navel in on the exhale, we're pushing the diaphragm up. So it starts to compress the ribs, the lungs, and then air can release out. So do you see how this deep connection works in the body with the breath? When we do deep breathing, we simply allow ourselves to receive more air entering the body. Okay, so that's step one. That's the basic of all breathing patterns. So if you want to try out a different pattern, you start to close your eyes and then tune in again to this area of your belly. The next breathing pattern is called box breathing. So imagine this box. A box is equal on all sides. So in a box breathing, what we want to do is to take the same inhale, breathing in maybe 2 or 3 counts. And then we take a pause for the same amount. And then we exhale for the same amount. And then we pause one more time for the same amount. So we get that box. On the inhale, 3 counts. Hold the breath for 3 counts. Exhale for 3 counts. and then pause once more, 3 counts. For some people, this breathing pattern might be very triggering, especially when we take the pause between the inhale and the exhale. So I want you to notice how your body responds to this. Triggering can come in the form of increased heart rate, some constriction in your throat. You don't feel safe in the body. You feel that you might kind of not breathe anymore. So notice that response, and perhaps you might need to shorten the pause between your inhale and your exhale. Remembering that wherever you are today, right now, with this box breathing, it is okay. For those of you who feel really comfortable with the pause, I want you to, as you pause, feel the places in your body where you notice the heart beating, where you notice your body functioning, even when you don't breathe, even when you have that sacred pause. We'll do this breathing pattern for another minute, just practicing here. And again, if you feel triggered, you feel stressed, release the breathing pattern. Just come to visualizing the body like a balloon expanding and body compressing as you exhale. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw, soften the face. So notice how even as we practice conscious breathing, we might still unconsciously be holding on to tension in the physical body. So as you continue to build this body-mind awareness, notice what happens when you take an inhale. Do you crunch up your shoulders? See whether you can soften. Final round here, inhaling. Exhaling. Good. If you're ready, slowly releasing this box breathing pattern and gently start to blink your eyes open. Good. How's everyone feeling so far? All right, good. So if you notice, what happens when we practice this breathing pattern is that we anchor ourselves into the present moment. All we need to do is connect with our breath, and then suddenly everything kind of starts to fall away, because all we have right now is the present moment. When we consciously connect with our breathing, we might start to hear our breath, start to notice the aliveness and the divinity of us being alive in this very moment. Right? And not only that, beyond the very fact that we anchor ourselves into the present moment, what we do is also we target our parasympathetic nervous system. So this nervous system is the system that is responsible for the rest and digest. Okay? So whenever we take deep inhale, we allow the exhale to be long and smooth and slow. We are reminding the nervous system of our body that it is safe to slow down. It is safe to come back to a state of rest and digest. Okay? So we move out of a state of stress into a state of relaxation. That's one of the reasons why we practice pranayama, breathing pattern. Okay? Interestingly enough as well, and this was something that I thought was quite mind-blowing when I started doing my yoga teacher training, the breath is something that we can also manipulate when we want to get anxious, when we want to get stressed out. So there's this breathing pattern in yoga that we call Kapalbhati, which means breath of fire. This is a breathing pattern where we kind of stress the body so that we start to increase the level of energy in ourselves. Okay? So we can do a short practice on that, just 1 minute. And for beginner students, this can be a bit challenging. Just letting you know. So we're going to take a normal deep inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale, breathing in, feeling that expansion of your abdominal region. And then feeling the softening of your shoulders, your jaws, your face. Good. So to practice Kapalbhati, what we're going to do is we're going to sip in just a bit through the nose. So halfway, taking an inhale halfway. On the exhale, you're going to breathe forcefully out your nose. So if you just listen to me, and I take a deep inhale, when I exhale, I'm kind of pushing my air out through my nose and I'm pumping my belly at the same time. So I take a halfway in through the nose and then pumping out. I'm pulling the navel towards the spine. So if you want to practice that, you can. You'll start to notice it's very activating. It's very cooling for the body. Again, this is not a very beginner-friendly style of breathing pattern. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can release it. But if you want, we have about a minute to try it out. For those of you who don't want to try it out, I invite you to close your eyes, come back to box breathing. So really inhaling 3 counts, take a pause for 3 counts, exhale 3 counts, and then one more pause, 3 counts. Good, we have about 30 seconds more to practice that. Good. Remember, if you're practicing Kapalbhati, you don't have to go fast. You can also do it slow. So instead of very quick exhales out the nose, you can take your time and change the pace according to what fits best for you. Last 10 seconds. And then wherever you are, release the breathing pattern, close your eyes, and just tune in to how the body feels right now. What has changed? Do you feel some sort of energy moving around? Do you feel lightheaded? Do you feel some form of clarity? Just notice the effects of breathing in the body. Good. Whenever you're ready, gently start to blink your eyes open. Good. How's everyone feeling? If you feel awakened from that Kapalbhati breathing pattern, know that that's the first breathing technique that you can use when you wake up. So usually when we wake up, we feel quite, if you haven't had good sleep, we can feel groggy. So we can use this breathing pattern to awaken ourselves, right? So this is where we can learn to manipulate our breath in a way that it doesn't simply relax us, but it can also energize us. It can also bring us out from a sleepy state, okay? So now we're 20 minutes in sitting down. I noticed some of you are starting to get a bit uncomfortable. So maybe you want to move and change the direction of where you're sitting. So instead of your right leg in front of your left, you can change the direction where your left leg is in front of the right. Good. Maybe shaking the legs out, maybe standing up, maybe giving yourself a nice stretch. Right, we're going to do one more breathing pattern before we go into meditation. So what is meditation and all of those stuff? So the last breathing pattern is called bee's breath or Brahmari Shodhana. So that's where we use the sound of our throat, our vocal cords, and activate into our relaxation response. So now you've done Kapalbhati. You know that now your energy is rising up. So there's a lot of movement. We've kind of tapped into the state of being stressed. So stress is technically not a bad thing. Stress is good because it allows the body to feel more energy, to send blood to all parts of the body that is wherever it's needed. So when we start to get into the state of stress, we also want to go out of stress into the state of rest and relaxation. So this breathing pattern, I really, really enjoyed it. I discovered it a couple of months ago. And it allows us to also target the vagus nerve, where it allows the body to continue to relax. Okay? Two ways of doing this pose. Two ways of doing this breathing pattern. Number one, your eyes remain open. Okay? Option two, you will start to close your eyes. I will show you that what we're going to do later. So with this breathing, with the bee's breath, it's very simple. We're going to take an inhale through the nose. And when we exhale, you're going to create a sound with your mouth. So you're creating this sort of bee, the buzzing of a bee with your throat, with your lips. You can also start to feel the vibration of your lips. Okay, so just try that out first. So take an inhale. And then exhale, creating the sound. Feeling the vibration of your throat, maybe even your lips. Good. So one last one, inhale, trying that out. Inhale, maybe this time closing your eye. And then exhale. Good. So just notice how that has a very calming and very grounding effect on the body. So we're going to do that for another 1 minute. As I mentioned earlier, you can have the option of opening your eyes, right? So keeping the eyes open, if that feels safe for you. All of this is just techniques where you can continue to feel safe in the body. But if you want to close your eyes and you want to try it out, you can actually take your palms in front of you and use your index, your middle finger, and your ring finger. You're going to cover the eyes, and then see where the thumb is. The thumbs are going to cover your ears. So what happens is that you really get connected and centered into your body. Okay, we're going to do this now that everyone has their ears closed. You're not going to be able to hear me properly. But I want you to just continue to do this breathing pattern for just about a minute, and trust yourself that you know how long a minute is. And even if you go over, it doesn't matter. Even if you go under, it doesn't matter, right? If you enjoy the breathing pattern so much, then just continue to do it. And then whenever you're ready to release, just come back to the class here, to the workshop. So whenever you're ready, I have my timer on for a minute. So you can keep your eyes open or you can keep your eyes closed and cover the ears, and just take an inhale and exhale, doing your bee's breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. We're at 1 minute now. If you can hear me, you can slowly release the breathing pattern, keeping the eyes closed. Just notice how you feel. Notice the effects of that pattern, of that breathing, bee's breath. Good. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly, gently blink your eyes open. So I want you to notice right now, do you feel the difference of the effects of breath of fire, so Kapalbhati, where we activated our nervous system, and then bee's breath, where we also activated the nervous system, but in a different way. It's a calming breath, right? So this is the power of our breath. We can manipulate it, right? We breathe in unconsciously every day. We breathe in because it's a necessity. But how beautiful of it How beautiful is our body such that we can actually take control of the breath and use it in a way to help us in what we need to achieve at that point of time. So again, like waking up in the morning using Kapalbhati to activate the whole system, or at night when you feel that you cannot rest because there's so many thoughts you cannot shut off from your day, and just practice box breathing or beast breath even, right? So this is the beauty of ourselves. This is what is the beauty of being a human being. All right. So this is one of my favorite topics to learn, one of my favorite topics to share. Okay. So now we're moving into meditation. Who here has meditated before? Oh, great. Okay. Good, 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 good. Okay. So for those of you who are new to meditation, sometimes it can sound very complex. Some people have very deep experiences in meditation. They can, find themselves somewhere else outside of their body, um, and sometimes it can feel very daunting for people who are new to meditation and like, what? Am I supposed to have that? Am I supposed to achieve that? You can, right? But I love to share yoga in the way of looking at it from science, looking at it from the way our body responds. Okay, so when we talk about meditation, all we simply want to think about is the changing of our brain waves. We have different waves that happens in our mind constantly, but the wave that we are always normally in is called the monkey mind, the beta wave. That's the active state that we are all in at the moment. Right now, if you're in this class, you're probably in this beta wave. Okay, beta brain state. And when we meditate, what we're trying to do is change the brain waves till we reach a state where we are consciously, but at the same time in a dreamless state. So we are conscious, but there's nothing happening in our mind. And we are conscious of that. And that's simply what we do with meditation. And meditation, we have to remember, it's like a muscle. Okay, we go to the gym, we lift weights, and we grow our muscles, right? We grow the body physically, we can see that. The same thing needs to be done with the brain. So meditation is not, you sit down and you meditate for 10 minutes every day if you're a beginner. This is possible, but usually it's much easier if we break it down into small steps. So if you're a beginner, just practice 5 minutes a day, and then you can start to grow that if you need to. So meditation is simply changing the brain waves. And we can do this in multiple different ways. So if you have your candle in front of you, if you light up the candle and you have this flame is what we're going to use to try to send our mind's attention, our mind's awareness, just to look at that flame and not think of anything else. In yoga, we call this single-minded focus, single-pointed focus. And it doesn't have to be a candle. It can be anything. It can be your screen. It can be, closing your eyes and focusing on the point in the center of your forehead. This is where we call the third eye chakra. This is the home for our third eye. But it doesn't have to be esoteric in that sense. It doesn't have to be woo-woo. It can be something very physical that you see in front of you. And all you need to do is use your breath to release thoughts and just observe the thing in front of you. Okay, is that simple enough? Is that straightforward enough for everyone when you're a beginner? Cool. So let's try that out for just a minute. Okay, and if you're new to meditation, you will notice that there are thoughts. You will notice that your mind is, you're looking at the candle and you're thinking about the candle, and then you're maybe thinking about when you bought the candle, and then maybe you're thinking, oh, I want to buy another candle. Oh, I love candles. Oh, smells are amazing. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I was thinking the whole time. That's normal. That's something that will happen if you're not used to meditation. But the point is, notice those thoughts, notice that you're thinking, and then send yourself back to like, okay, I'm only going to focus right now on that candle or that thing that I'm choosing to focus on. All right? So we'll take a deep breath in, open the mouth, sigh it all out, relax the shoulders, relax the face. And then setting an intention right now, just mindfully telling yourself, okay, I'm going to try to meditate, or I'm going to meditate if you have a meditation practice. And then that thing that you have in front of you, maybe it's a candle, maybe it's the flame of the candle, start to look at it, start to gaze at it. And then notice how your eyes are gazing at the candle, but at the same time, you're very aware of the belly moving as you take a deep breath in, and the belly softening back towards the spine as you exhale. That's all we're doing, just breathing in, gazing at the candle, breathing out. Focusing all our senses on the breath. So notice whether you can hear your breathing. And then simply observing if your thoughts are arising, allow the thoughts to release and come back to just focusing on the breath and the candle. If it's too much with having awareness on the candle and the breath, then simply focus on one thing, just the candle or the breath. Keep coming back to the awareness of your breath. Notice the body in this present moment. Then slowly releasing your breathing pattern. And then slowly, gently blinking the eyes open. Good. For those of you new to meditation, how did that feel? Was that easy, doable enough? Thumbs up, it was good. All right. So that's one way to meditate, where we focus on the breathing. We focus on something outside of us, single-minded focusedness. And when you attempt to do this single-minded focusedness, you might notice, and that's when you start to notice the thoughts arise. Notice how difficult it is to stay present in the moment. That's all we need to do. We take the seat of being an observer of the body and of the mind. When we start to become conscious of how difficult it is for us to be in the present moment, that's when we start to practice and start to strengthen the brain, start to strengthen our meditation muscles. Okay, so that's one way of practicing meditation. There are a lot of different ways to practice meditation. Another way I love to use is the use of mantras. And I know for some people mantras can be very spiritual and not something that they want to do, which is okay. I will still recommend a mantra that you can do, so a vowel, a syllable that we can use. For a typical yoga class, we use the word Om, right? So we take a deep inhale and then we chant Om. We're going to do some chanting today, and this chanting again is that single-minded focusedness of listening to your Om, so listening to your chant, listening to your voice. And at the same time, because when we chant, we exhale very, very long. And this again targets our parasympathetic nervous system. It allows us to relax a bit more. For those of you not comfortable chanting Om, you can chant Ah. So again, From the scientific perspective of using mantra, we're simply extending our exhale so that we tap into the state of relaxation. The more relaxed we are, the less the mind starts to think. Okay, that's meditation, releasing those thoughts. So whenever you're ready, we'll take a deep inhale, finding our comfortable seat. And again, if you start to get uncomfortable, you can lean against the wall. You can also lie down, but the issue, and I use that inverted commas, issue of lying down is that you might fall asleep, right? Then you go into an unconscious state. So if you want, you can lean against something, maybe lie down on the floor. Good. We'll take a deep inhale through the nose. Maybe exhale out the mouth. Good. We'll take an inhale now, and then on the exhale, we're going to chant, whichever chant you choose, Ah or Om. So whenever you're ready, exhaling. Continue that for another minute. And again, the awareness that we want to cultivate here is the sound of your voice. So listening, the feeling of the vibrations in your body with the voice. So feeling, closing the eyes, maybe focusing on the space between the eyebrows. If thoughts arise, simply release the thoughts. Last one here. Last chant. Inhale. Then keeping the eyes closed, observing the effects of the chant in your body. And then whenever you're ready, slowly, gently blinking the eyes open. Good. So I really love mantra chanting because I feel very centered in my body. Maybe that's how you feel as well, that it allows you to not think, because you're thinking, your mind is using the sound of your voice to think. So maybe that's something that feels good for you. That's your way of meditating, right? And then eventually we all start to move towards not wanting to chant, not wanting to listen to something, not wanting to focus the eyes on candle. So eventually we start to move into a state of being silent. So having silent meditation. And this is something that we're going to practice now for just a short time. And it's actually the most challenging style of meditation I find, because in the silence, your mind has no other distraction. There's nothing to look at. There's no candle that can distract the mind to. There's no chanting or sounds that the mind can, um, put into boxes. Oh, I'm listening to myself, or I'm doing this and that. when we be still and be silent, we start to really sit into our body and observe how we react to things around us, right? So it can be quite challenging. And if you find that it's very challenging to just sit in silence, you can use your candle in front of you again, coming back to that meditation, or maybe you chant in this in your form of silent meditation, or maybe you do your bees breath where you do the sound of okay. So all of the point of meditation is to always try to change the brain waves until we start to arrive in a state where we don't think anymore. We are consciously not thinking. We're just going to practice this silent meditation for a couple of minutes. So whenever you're ready, we'll sit into our comfortable seat. Take a deep inhale, sitting up tall. Maybe exhaling out the mouth, releasing the tension in the face, in the jaw, and the shoulders. And beginning our silent meditation, taking slow, deep breaths in, slow, deep breaths out. Notice when the mind starts to wander around, and allow yourself to come back to the present moment of just simply breathing with the breath. Come back to observing your breath, feeling your hands on the body, feeling the feet on the ground. Good. And then slowly, gently, starting to blink your eyes open. Good. So that's another style of meditation where we come into silence, right? And recently, when I was practicing this meditation, when I was doing it silently, I noticed how the mind, or how my mind would try to distinguish every little single thing I was hearing. I could hear the car, and my mind was immediately, oh, that's a car. That's a car driving down. Or I heard someone opening the door in my house. I'm like, oh, someone's opening the door. So I noticed my mind was always trying to figure out different things that was happening around me. And then I realized, and this is something we learn again in yoga, the mind is it's a beautiful organ on its own. We don't have control over the mind, right? Because we are the consciousness that exists in the body with the body and the mind. So the practice of meditation is to kind of almost have some sort of relationship with this mind of yours. Start to build this relationship where we as conscious being can coexist with the mind, where the mind works for us and not against us, right? So I really, really hope that you've learned something new in today's class. I hope you understand why it's so important for us to have conscious breathing, to practice conscious breathing, to practice deep belly breathing. I hope also that you realize that there are many different ways of meditation, and I didn't touch a lot. I just touched a small part of what meditation is. Sometimes you can even do things like moving meditation, where you practice Tai Chi, you practice yoga, yoga asana, You go for a walk outside and practice moving meditation where you feel your feet on the ground, you feel the elements on your skin. Maybe it's rain, maybe it's sun, maybe it's wind. You listen to the birds around you and you're very much in that present moment. And being in that present moment starts to shift the brain waves, right? Because that's what meditation is about, changing that brain waves, being very conscious that we're not thinking anymore. Okay, so there's different ways of meditating and there's different styles that will fit you on the journey that you're on. Guided meditation, silent meditation, mantra meditation, sound meditation, moving meditation, so many different ways. And it's the beauty of practicing yoga is that we get to go on this journey to discover what works for us and what doesn't.